your command.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Getting Down with Dave C. And we are back again with the original Black Panther run of Jack Kirby. And I will be flying solo tonight. Old JT cannot make it. Hope you're doing well out there in YouTube's land, and maybe you'll be making back next week. We are rolling with issue number 11. Yeah. Where did my scrolling part go? Oh, there it goes. And if you remember last week, old T'Challa finally made it back to Wakanda. It took 10 issues, but he finally made it back, right? And he had been through, a few adventures and met a lot of people along the way. Mr. Little, Abner Little, who we grew to hate and love at the same time. A lot of other people, a lot of good people, a lot of bad people. And wait till you get a hold of this dude right here called Kyber the Cruel. So this is the end of number 10. T'Challa had to take on this guy here. He was one of the original Panther people back in Wakanda. I can't think of his name. I had his name and then forgot. Anywho, he got into some of the vibranium, and it turned him into this Red Hulk thing, smash type guy who had fire blasters coming out of his arms. He's a pretty strong dude. T'Challa finally tackled him, hit him up with this injector thing that was going to take him out, but he had made it to the vibranium mound, and they blew up. And that's where we were left off. So we don't know what happened, right? Cliffhanger. But we see the vibranium mountain from issue number 10. And we get the little intro to Kyber the Cruel. And buddy, let me tell you something. He is not a nice individual. I can tell you. No spoiler alerts. But yeah. So let's get on into it here. Go into the cover as always. Check, see what they got out here with Kirby. Pretty interesting cover. A lot of action. We see these dudes here with the big axe, big old metal axe, trying to get at T'Challa, who seems like he's hanging on there. A lot of detail as always. I don't know who the KS is there. I thought Kirby would have done this cover. Maybe the Kirby didn't do this cover. But I'm pretty sure he did. Anyway, yeah, Kirby and then something K and then S. So whoever the S is, not sure. But yeah, we get a little intro into what's going on here. But this cover here, it kind of fools you. Normally the covers give you the background into what's going to happen. But it does, but it's not what you think. So it was kind of a better cover when you think about it later. So you got these dudes chasing T'Challa around here. Anywho, get right on into old Kyber the Cruel here. And like I said, T'Challa, he acts like a supervillain, behaves like a supervillain, but when this incident in T'Challa's life is over, you'll run for the hills when you figure out who Kyber the Cruel is. But I'm was more interested in what he was up to, because when you find out what he's doing, it's not good. But anyway, it's kind of a weird intro because, like I said, T'Challa had took on the monster. Yeah, dang, I cannot think of that guy's name. But anyway, like I said, they blew up on the mound, and then all of a sudden, T'Challa is in the city with these guys, and you think maybe it was like a portal to another place or something. Now they give you clues. I won't tell you what it is. It's all in the writing. So if I don't go too fast and you read it, it says it's happening again. And you're like, that's kind of interesting. And searching for someone who is in great danger. And you're like, oh, you have no idea what's really going on here, right? This is kind of weird. But it's weird in a good way this time, as we'll see. And then all of a sudden he's fighting like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these 5 of these dudes with these big ass metal axes and horn golden outfits. The outfits are pretty cool, I guess. There's some ugly dudes here. I don't know. I guess they're just kind of monster type things or whatever. But he's taking them on, and somehow the Panther knows his heart is filled with grim futility as he retreats, and that's great Kirby writing. Is he always he tends to write in the boxes. There wasn't a box there, but it's on the side. It's got the box here. It's always making the dramatic feel for the action. I always like that when he does that. And he's always really good at it. So I hope everybody can hear me. I don't have anybody to say if it's working. I see that it's working. It looks like it's working. If I turn it on, let's see if there's an echo. Echo? Yep. Yeah, there's an echo, so it's working. And they seem to be driving him over to the edge, just like on the cover, and they got him there. And he does say something interesting again. It's going to happen again. Sorry, no pun intended. It never changes. They're going to finish me off. No. And then the old boy here swings the axe down on him, and T'Challa falls. And you're like, what the heck is going on here? You know, it's kind of confusing because of what had happened at the last issue. And you figure there's probably going to be like a time lapse or something weird like that, right? And you get a lot of good action here right away. And good detail on the muscles for T'Challa here. And I like this. I like this little one right here to the left where he says, "I won't die at your hand. Do you hear me?" And you've got this axe going right down, and you can see Black Panther's eyes are like, ah. So it's kind of a cool shot. Really good art. Great use of the and it's got to be difficult to be able to make it look like he's kind of like that, with the eyes going but Kirby pulls it off. He's pretty good at that, and details as well, all the muscles and lines he's got. But now he's fallen, and you're like, what the hell is going on here? You just don't know what's up. So he's falling. He's like, me. And then you can see, like I always talk about the details that Kirby does. And look at the wall, the red wall here. He's got all the lines in it. It's not difficult stuff, right? Well, not for an artist who's good, but I mention it every week as long as I see it, that he doesn't take a lot of shortcuts. Every now and then you'll see something a little bit odd, but most of the time, like both of these panels, he takes the time to put lines in, shading. It's not miraculous stuff here. It's not like the best ever of anything, but he takes the time to do it to make it better. I mean, it could just be like a plain rock wall or something like that, something boring, but he takes the time to put detail in. And then you're like, oh, okay, you got me, because he was having a nightmare. So you're like, oh, okay, that's what it was. So now it kind of makes sense, right? Excuse me while I drink a little bit of water while I'm doing all this talking, because I'll be by myself tonight. And let me check X. Let me check see if anybody had Twittered saying they want to come in. Nope. Okay, so we're good. Yeah, we'll just keep going. So yeah, T'Challa was dreaming the whole time, and you're like, you got me. But Joshua wakes him up, and because now we're like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. He survived the explosion on the uranium. I keep saying uranium vibranium mound, but you're kind of confused again now, because it's like, well, isn't he going to turn into like a monster or something now? You're not really sure how this is going to go, because now the cover of the comic has already given away what's happened, right? So you don't know anything else. Usually there's hints in the cover, but it was all just a nightmare with those guys. Or was it? Dun, dun, dun. But anyway, he wakes up and Joshua Itobo is there helping him out. And we get a little reflection on T'Challa's past nightmares. He says it's the same one. You're like, oh, that's kind of odd. Okay. And he says if it were superstitious, I'd regard it as some sort of premonition of disaster or death. Dun, dun, dun. and of course, Toto's like, yeah, okay, whatever. That's crazy. But we know better, though, don't we? And the child is kind of thinking about it. He's like, yeah, I guess you're right. Kind of, they're just nightmares. They come back every now and then. He's just talking to a Tobo there who's going over the paperwork because the Tobo's a doctor. So they say he is. Said it a couple times, right? And Nagasi comes back in to, see how he's doing, check him out. And he's like, yeah, doing okay, I guess. I wouldn't add this burden to you. They're just kind of talking a little bit. And he needs to sign some stuff, blah, blah, blah. He's just doing admin. He's just kind of hanging out. We don't know how long he's been in yet, or I might have missed it. I'm not sure of the timeline. But I'm sure he's been in there. Sure, he's been in bed for a while. But he says, I've been in bed, but I haven't got any rest. I think a lot of us can relate to that, right? We always try to get some sleep, but you not always get a good rest. Anyway, he says that, his body's healing from all the fighting and stuff that he'd been doing. He got knocked around pretty good by the monster guy. Remember, he clobbered him over the head pretty damn hard. And he barely recovered from that. And, if it had been a regular dude, it probably would have crushed him. Because we know T'Challa's not like a regular kind of guy. So, but the guy's like, no, I got to get back in bed. Same old trope. No, I got to get up. Got to go do stuff. And I'm thinking, where's he got to go? Everything's kind of calm, right? And you're like, take it easy for a while, man. It took you 10 issues just to get home. There's only like 15 issues, I think. Yeah, I think there's only 15 issues. So, 3/4 of the show here. And he finally made it. But the doc's like, let him up, stretch his legs and stuff like that. So they're just kind of BSing and hanging out. But T'Challa is like, he's got some issues here going on in his head. He's trying to shake off the cobwebs. And, Gossie's telling him, you were at the vibranium mound and all that stuff that had happened. But T'Challa's kind of like, no, this is something deep's going on. When they dug me from the bowels of that collapsed ruin, I was suffering more than bodily injury. I've been exposed to that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, you kind of think that what had happened to the other guy, they'd be a little more cautious here with him, especially the doctor. But they seem to be pretty chill with it. T'Challa seems to be like the only one who is concerned about the effects of him actually being on the mound itself. And then, having the explosion of whatever happened to the bad guy. And nobody else seems to be too worried about it. But so he's like, yeah, keep examining me, Doc. Go ahead, do what you got to do. But I fear that your instruments can't cope with what's happened to me. And you're like, okay, here we go. He's gonna change into a monster, and they're gonna have to save him somehow. But he says there's tests for psychic abilities. So he's kind of foreshadowing some stuff here, as you can tell, right? Everybody in the chat's always smart enough to figure this stuff out. And he goes, I suggest you take that direction. My visions are frighteningly real. And you're like, okay, so he's going to get like a third eye or something? I don't know. All right. And then Kanata now, he's one of the other four Panthers. He was the race car driver guy. Not the older one, but the kind of, I don't know, middle age, 30, 40 or something. I don't know. But his name's Kanata. And apparently he just wants to go for a drive or something here. And the onesie military guys, we've seen them before, lots of times, really. They're like the militia, police, guards type of guys. And I guess hashtag military when it comes down to it. But anyway, they're like, hey, man, be careful out there. There's a lot happening out there on the road. You got to be, it's kind of like a PSA. Don't drive too fast, everybody. Right? The roads are dangerous. And, there's our plant. Look, there's the green plant. There's always got to be a plant. I love it when he does that, right? Remember Battlestar Galactica? I was looking for the monitors. And then, hey, we got somebody here in the chat. God, Arthur, hail to you. Thanks for coming in and stopping by. We're already in issue I'm trying to type you in here. Oh, Gigi. Is that GGD? Sorry, man, I don't have my glasses on. Yeah, there you are, Gigi. Okay, thanks for coming by. Appreciate it. So Kanata wants to go for a drive, and I'm telling him, hey, man, be careful out there. And the roads are kind of, jacked up because of the vibranium. And he's like, nah, it'll be good. And he's all decked out. He's got his gloves on, his racing goggles, right? Kind of like this car's got like a sunroof in it, right? And got a nice gold car, pretty sharp. And he's like, yeah, I know. I think the roads might have sustained shock damage. He says that the whole mound collapsed, but they didn't really point that out. So yeah, we don't know what we're gonna do next. Arthur, we might be doing some DC, but let's see, we got 4 more issues of this, and then I'll talk to JT about it and see what do you want to do? Some Silver Age Superman? Ooh, some good ideas there. Yeah, we get a lot of good ideas from people. We'll see what happens. Probably decide in the next week or two. So Kanata, let's see. He zooms off. He's like a race car driver. That's what he does actually for a living, besides being a Black Panther guy. He's actually head of one of his families as a Black Panther. But and the dudes are kind of funny. They're like, yeah, he's not going to listen to us. He's a racer. He don't care. He's going to take off, and he does. But he's like, yeah, he's kind of just talking to himself here, reminiscing about, yeah, I just needed to get out in the open road and go for a drive, take it for a spin. And let's just see what's happening out here. And he's just kind of driving around, and he's like, yeah, it's not too bad out here. Get a little scenery, a little bit of the jungle and blue sky here. Not too detailed, but then we get to the mountains, because Wakanda was kind of a closed off area, but in here they say that it's a mountain that blocks off the whole country. Well, thank you for the compliment. Yeah, I'd had these for a while and then didn't have them, and then I rebought them and thought, hey, you know what, might as well just do a stream. I think because it's only 15 issues, so it doesn't take too much time, and you can go by one and just go through and have fun with it. So let's see, Kanata is kind of like, yeah, maybe one day we got to do something about this so we can go with the rest of the world. And he actually, Kirby puts this in here, must be some way to break this tradition of isolation. And we know from lore and from Black Panther that Wakanda was always isolationists for at least a long time, right? And he's saying it's time to rejoin the human race and offer every Wakandan the chance for a new lifestyle. And it's kind of interesting they brought it up here. So, because, they had already had the jungle action feature. The Kirby didn't write that, but that had already been done before this series. So. And then he's like, yeah, one day we'll cut through Panther Mountain and perhaps a speedway. So he wants like a Grand Prix. Like I said, he's a racer type of guy. And he's thinking, he's just kind of thinking and having fun, just kind of relaxing. And then, holy crap, you're like, what are these dudes doing here? They were in T'Challa's dream. Hey, FKC 2005. Good to see you, man. Put you a little hail in here. See how you're doing. Yeah. Nice one. Yeah, well, these two dudes show up and you're like, wait, they're real? Because they were in T'Challa's dream, his nightmare. But now they're real. So I'm like, okay, I was like really confused. And I remember reading this a long time ago, but I don't remember, how it panned out. And then they snatch him. They kidnap him while he was just having a good day, just hanging out, relaxing, thinking about things, and all of a sudden he gets kidnapped. And of course, you're gonna have a mini cliffhanger here, right? You go, oh, and then you're like, meanwhile, back at the Batcave, they're actually paying attention to what T'Challa's telling them, so they're running some tests. So they're listening to what he's got to say. He thinks that he's got something going on with his mind, and they're doing the can you see this test? I don't know. There's a technical term for it, but I don't know what it is. And he's like, can you read the card? He's like, yeah, I read it. And then you go, what's on this one? He's like, oh, it's a missile. And you're like, damn, man, he's serious. He can actually see these things with his eyes closed. And he got a perfect score, and you've acquired some form of a ESP. And T'Challa's like, yeah, that's no comfort. It's really bothering him, right? He's really getting kind of jacked up about this. He's like, I don't care about this silly game. I already told you, And then he brings up the fact that he knows about Kanata, and he knows that he's been kidnapped. And you're like, get out of my way. I got to go help him. And they're like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Right. Yeah, well, if you missed it earlier, hey, buddy, how's it going? Yeah, if you guys missed it, T'Challa woke up in bed, and he's got like some psychic powers now from the fight on the vibranium mound, which collapsed or something. So I've been wondering what they're going to do with him here. So he's got some psychic powers, and he knew that the other Black Panther family guy, Kanata, had been kidnapped by people from his dream, no less. It's just a little odd. I don't know how they're going to tie that in. They'll probably just do it, right? And you got to go with it. Hint, hint. But T'Challa's still not really healed up from the big fight. And he collapses, and they're like, hey, bring a stretcher. And we don't see that other guy, Juvie, that really big dude, the aide. You remember that guy? The one I always saying he was like one of the bigger guys to go help, but he was just like just like a lab assistant or a librarian. I don't know. He was Ngasi's assistant. But anyway, don't see him yet. And they're like, okay, look, man, you gotta get back in bed. You're not well. And he's all pissed. I'm not a delicate jungle flower. That's some good Kirby humor. Put me on that thing and be done with it. He's grumpy, right? Because he knows he really can't get up and do too much, but they're kind of pampering him. He doesn't like it. So, all right. And then they're like, oh, okay, yeah. They get a phone call, and or Nagasi calls to check on what's going on, and they find out that T'Challa was right, and Kanata was actually kidnapped, and again by the same people that were in T'Challa's dream. And you're like, okay, you have no idea what's going on now. He's missing, and there's no evidence of foul play. And they found his car out there by the Panther Mountain. And Joshua says what I was thinking. Well, that's weird. Where can he be? What could have happened to him? But of course, now we know, right? And then we go straight into Kanata getting beat up, just getting jacked up here. It is a question which not even Kanata can answer. Instead, it earns him brutal treatment at the hands of his captors. And this dude's like, crack. You speak when only I address you. And you're like, oh, we got one of those kind of guys again. You know how the bad guys are, right? little egotistical narcissist, probably, right? But he jacks Kanata with a good right cross here. It's like, damn. And he does some good artwork, some good hands here, right? Normally hands are a little weird, but Kirby does a really good job here with the hands for the most part, compared to a lot of other people. And this dude here, pretty just basic stone kind of face, mean, evil looking guy. And he's just beating him up. But then he's like talking to him. And again, as always, whenever there's a fight, everybody talks trash to each other. It's great, right? So Kanata, even though he got knocked on his ass, he's still like, oh, it'll take a lot more than that to intimidate me. I'm Wakandan. And we have a long history of giving as good as we get. But resistance is futile. And, this guy is, I guess he's referring to other people that he had there or something. And they took all their weapons. And I guess he's so comfortable, he's just got the weapons just laying around. Don't put them in a storage locker or anything, but they're just laying there. Anyway, I don't know whose they are, but he goes, you must understand how a man feels when he's been abducted, and he's like, yeah, I don't really care. The bad guy. He's like, I brought you here for a reason. And everybody, wait till you find out what this guy's doing. It's bad. Really, really bad. And he says that purpose alone is of importance. And like, yeah, it sure is. And think of like the dark crystal a little bit. Oh, what did I do? Uh-oh. What did I do here? I jacked something up. There we go. Sorry, guys. I fixed it. The boomered. And all right. So yeah, Kanata's like, of course he's just going to grab the gun, right? I mean, it's laying right there, and he does. So he starts shooting, but this dude, look what he did. He like just reappeared behind him, like in a split second, like it was nothing, right? Before he could even get off like 3 shots. Pow, pow, pow. And I like how Kirby, like I said, paying attention to detail for the most part, right? You can see how like the shells came out, right? But that's a revolver, but it's not, it's a high-tech Wakandan revolver. It's not like, regular Western revolver. But anyway, the shells come flying out. But this dude has just like, he's like shows up behind him, and he's like, hey, how the hell did you do that? Who are you? And the other dude's like, yeah, bullets can't harm me. So I don't know if it's like he dashed around the bullets because he turned behind him so quick that it looks like his his neck turned into Elastic Man here, or Plastic Man. Both. Professor Incredible. But and then he says, my name is Kyber, and you're the first I've told. I wonder why. And you're like, uh-oh. So this guy's a little bit loony bin too, right? But apparently very powerful, or at least very fast. We're not sure yet. But he goes, because it breaks you up. That's why. So then you figure, okay, so the bullets did go through him, and he whipped around behind him really, really fast at the same time. So I guess he just throws the pistol at him, and he just goes, and I guess he just like, I don't know how you would call that. He separates himself, or, I don't know. But anyway, it goes like right through him. He deatomizes himself, right? And he goes, does this surprise you? I'm like, yeah, a little bit. I can show you more of my talents. And he's like, no, that's okay. But he grabs him and gives him a good shock here, man. Just sends him flying backwards. Like, wow. It kind of reminds me of Phantom Limb from Venture Brothers, right? You guys know what I'm talking about? When he can grab people and just shock them. He can actually delete people like that. But here he just throws him like across the room like he's nothing, and then just picks him up with his hands, and he's like, He's pointing at him. I would defeat my purpose to destroy you. And you're like, well, what's going on here? What's he doing with these people? And like I said, it's bad. It's really, really bad. I totally forgot. I remember this guy. I didn't remember like this kind of thing. And I definitely didn't remember what he was truly up to here until the end. But yeah, you can see he's kind of like, I don't know what the technical term for this is. Like he's parts of his body are in phase. He's out of phase. He's deatomatized parts of his body here. So he's a pretty powerful kind of guy. He's strong enough to throw, Kanata across the room. He's probably around 230, 220, something like that. He's not a small guy. He's a big dude compared to everybody else. But he says, I need you. I need many more like you to sustain my power. And you're like, wait, what did he mean by that? And he goes, but your number will grow in time, and so will the strength of Kyber. And you're like, so is he trying to build an army of like zombies? Or was he trying to, well, if he was going to vampire him, I don't know, space vampire type crap or whatever, right? We're not sure. And then he goes, think how strong I shall be when I gather you up in droves and bring you here. And you're like, oh, dude, he's like a vampire or something, right? What do you guys think? Most of you probably already know what's going on. Remember from the comics. And he goes, you see, power is life itself to me. But Kanata's like, yeah, man. I've heard this crap before. You need an army of slaves to help you fatten your ego, blah, blah, blah. So this is kind of funny how Kirby writes whenever these guys are talking trash to each other. I love Kirby when he does this. It just comes out of the blue sometimes, the comedy. But it's true, right? I mean, even us as comic book people and science fiction people and all that kind of stuff, we've heard this kind of stuff before. But Kanata's really not catching on. He doesn't know what's really going on here yet. So he throws him down the laundry chute. Basically, right? I'm like, okay. I got some water there. Yeah, just tosses him down the laundry chute. And you're like, what the hell is going on? And it literally is a chute. And because they tell you it is. So the next moment, Kanata plummets down a deep chute, the Utes. The 4D man plot. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I like there, buddy, is you're not quite sure. Is he a vampire? Is he trying to build a zombie army? Is he just trying to mess with their minds because the whole T'Challa mind thing? Is that what's bothering him? He's, this guy maybe has some high level mental, powers. You know what I mean? So you're not quite sure what's going on. I was going with zombie, making him into zombie on a zombie army, something like that. And this guy here, and the blonde dude is talking like he's in prison. Oh my God, here comes another poor fish. I'm like, oh, another dude's like fodder is a better word. And you're like, okay, so now he's going to do like a manhunt. Is that what's going on? What do you guys think? Into the garbage chute, Flyboy. Yeah. And so that's Kanata, the race car driver. If you missed it earlier, buddy, he got kidnapped while T'Challa was in the hospital. I'm pretty sure you know that, but I'll just throw it out there just in case you missed it. UNFKHC 2005 and Mr. Arthur there. So this guy's like, yeah, another fish. And you're like, okay, so there's a bunch of dudes down here. They're all prisoners. And they're like, yeah, he's still got some fight in him, this guy. And one dude, he's the Debbie Downer. Well, that'll pass. There's always those guys. One dude sitting in a corner just crying the blues the whole time, right? But you get a pretty different the clothes, right? The clothes are all different. You got one guy, it's just kind of a couple guys in regular stuff. Then you got a dude in a green suit. And then you got this guy here with the toga and another dude here in a complete orange jumpsuit. So I'm thinking that I might be correct about this guy in the orange jumpsuit. Is might have actually been kidnapped from a jail or something, because he used the word fish, which is a jail term, right? And he's in an orange jumper. So that's what I was thinking. Anyway, Kanata's like, you guys look like you guys all been beaten up. And like, yeah, whatever. What do you think we're doing sitting down here? We weren't invited to dinner, that's for sure. But anyway, meanwhile, back at the Batcave, the T'Challa's kind of finally taking another little break here, and he's like, I'm feeling kind of better, just kind of lay down for a minute. We've all felt like that, right? And but Josh was like, no, I gotta do some stuff, because finally they're taking the whole vibranium thing a little more serious. He's like, the unpredictable effect of the vibranium exposure, which I brought up earlier. They didn't really touch on that for like several pages now. And I'm like, wouldn't that have been like the number one priority right away? But they get to it. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. So I could tell kind of maybe by your comment, you thought that was T'Challa. T'Challa's in the hospital because of the fight that he had with the monster guy. And they just blew up, right? From last issue that you saw. And T'Challa's been in the hospital. So, but T'Challa has like some mental abilities now. He knew that Kanata had been kidnapped for some reason. And some other he's got some psychic abilities now, or at least a little bit. So they're just kind of talking, and he's like, I'm feeling better. Can I get up now? I'm serious. I'm feeling pretty good. And he's like, well, I'd recommend a month's rest, but that ain't gonna make you do it. And is that the Charlie Brown lamp in the back, guys? That looks like the Charlie Brown shirt lamp. Anyway, I just noticed that. I didn't notice that earlier. But anyway, the orderlies come in, and they're like, oh, you brought my costume. And I'm like, I guess they call it costume. I don't know. It's more like his war suit, right? Everybody. I mean, it's kind of like every time. I mean, it took a while to see him fighting without his mask on, right? And then we finally got into where he saw sometimes he didn't have time to put it on. But whenever he puts that mask on, then it's really on, right? He's definitely up for kicking some ass when he puts the mask on. So I don't know about calling it a costume, but I could say it's called his war uniform or his war outfit, his fighting duds. And they're just kind of talking your sense of tradition, and we always know that Wakandans are very, very deep into lore and tradition, culture, their heritage and stuff like that. And he mentions, I've got to go find Kanata because I know he's missing, and they know he's missing as well. Because remember, Ngasi did an inquiry into figuring out what's going on, and he is missing. So everybody knows that he's missing, right? Doctor's feeling a little bit down about himself, but he's like, don't worry about it. How could you know what's going on? And he goes, I admit you've shown definitive signs of ESP, but clairvoyance is something about witchcraft. And T'Challa's like, yeah, I don't really care. I got to go find. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You call it whatever you want. I got a job to go do. And he puts his mask on. So he gets serious when he puts his mask on, right? Yeah, just funny humor. Yeah. I don't care, man. You call it whatever you want. So a moment later, T'Challa departs. And we're like, yeah, okay, cool. And I like the guards. You finally got some guards around here. And this guy's like full military on, right? Like T'Challa's the president. He's the head of the whole country, right? And your Jeep is ready, Great Panther. And he's like, very well, stay at your post. And I'm like, okay, cool. T'Challa's giving orders. I like it. And we get a little plant there, but it looks like it needs some water. It's not green. It's kind of brown. I'm like, put some water on that thing, man. Anyway, and he's like, hey, driver, take me to where they found the Jeep, Kanata's Jeep. Stay on the road, And he's like, yes, sire. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You get a pretty good little Jeep here, right? It's drawn very well. Although I figured T'Challa would probably just like drive himself, but hey, got somebody to do it for you. Why not, right? So they're going down the streets, I guess, and people are like, hey, it's T'Challa. Hey, thanks for saving us. Glad you're back. He's once more the pride and strength of our cult. So the people are happy that he's back. You don't really hear anybody complaining that he was gone so long, right? Other than the bad guy from the last couple issues, who did the coup, until he got changed from the vibranium. He did throw a coup, but you don't see like regular people bitching and complaining about it. They love T'Challa, right? Especially since he just came back and saved him. But we're going through, nice little scenic route. Get to see some trees and some plants and stuff like that. And he's having a nice little talk with the driver guy here. He goes, "I'll stop here as you wish, sire, but you'll find that the brush will offer no clues." And he goes, "Yeah, you seem like a good guy. I respect the military, but I'm gonna go do this on my own." But he doesn't talk down to the guy, right? That's what I liked. Kirby, he didn't. Black Panther's really not like that unless he's really, really pissed off or something. We don't, and that's rare. We saw that a couple issues ago with the mafia guys, but he doesn't talk down to this guy. He's very respectful to this driver. I thought that was kind of cool, because he could have been a real jerk to him, but that's not his form. So T'Challa takes off into the jungle to try to find some clues. Excuse me. And I kind of like this, like he's just kind of running through the jungle here. It's cool. I mean, in arts, it doesn't have to be exactly fantastic, right? It's great. It's good enough. And we see him, he's hunched over and he's looking for clues, and you get the idea of what he's doing, right? Just by the artwork. But he's having trouble trying to find any clues, really, just like the guy had said. There are no unfamiliar footprints, no struggle, no grass. There's nothing he can really find, broken sticks or out of the place kind of stuff. And now he's kind of wondering how it happened. And he's not really doubting himself here, but it's not making much sense to him. So he's just trying to figure it out. And meanwhile, at an unknown location, right? This would be the little hideout. And T'Challa's got to be pretty close here, but he has no clue where it is. And he goes, "Kyber's hunting dogs. They're after one of us." And now I know this dude. That's the blonde guy with the orange suit. You can't tell quite right there to the left when he says that. That dude is an old prisoner now, because he said all those things. Hunting dogs, where they chase you when you try to escape, or worse things like that. But and this one dude in the hat's like, "No, don't take me. No, 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 no." So they know something bad's getting ready to happen. Kanata's like, "Let him go, you devils." And they grabbed the kid, this guy in the suit, the green suit, and they're dragging him off. And you're like, okay, this isn't good, right? This looks really bad. What are they gonna do to this dude? And I was kind of like, I actually got pretty excited, like interested. I was like, oh man, this really got me going now. And he's like, "Please, please, I don't want to go out there." And Kanata tries to fight back, and the one dude, he's like, "Nah, man, don't bother. It's not gonna work." And he goes, I can't fight him alone. You got to help me out. We can take him together." And they're like, "No, we tried. We tried before." So it's like, Kanata gets a good left hook now. Bang! So he took another one to the jaw. And you can see on the left panel here, the body, the prisoner guard, whatever, is just dragging this dude by one hand. I like that artwork, right? You can really see how he's just walking off with him, dragging him by the wrist like that. And like I said, Kanata takes a good whack again, right? He's taking a good beating since he's been there. But I guess they have like a glass door to this little prison cell there. And he's like, "No, man, we can do it. If we jump on him, And he goes, oh, shit, it's too late now. And one dude in the back's like, yeah, you count yourself lucky, man, that it wasn't you. You're like, what is going on, dude? This better be good. Like, somehow, some way, it's got to be good, right? And he's like, they're forcing him to a cabinet. What's going to happen to him? And again, somebody in the back goes, don't look. It isn't pretty. And you're like, uh-oh. All right, man. Let's go. Let's FG, LFG. Yeah, I get Columbo. Columbo and Kojak. And Kolchak, the Night Stalker. He goes, well, we can put our shoulders door, break it down. So Kanata, you got to give him some credit here. Kanata's like really trying to help this guy, right? He tried to stop him. He tried to get to the door. Now he's trying to push through the door. And obviously he can't. He's not going to be able to do that, especially just pushing with his own strength there. And you're like, I'm not going to say what that looks like right away. He's pushing him into this thing, but I'm thinking, maybe it's a time machine, or it's going to morph this guy into a zombie. So I'm going with the zombie thing at this point, right? And then I'm thinking, yeah, it's got to be like zombies or something like that now, right? Or they're gonna send this dude to another time dimension as, like the other guy said, cannon fodder or whatever, as a test subject, because Kyber wants to destroy, invade another world or something like that. Something crazy, right? I mean, I kind of knew the answer to that one, but I was just hoping other than just zombies, because zombies is kind of a trope type of thing, right? But anyway, this was 1978. So the chamber is sealed and Kyber is pushing the button here. And you're kind of like, all right, let's see what's up. And you get the transformation thing or whatever. And then you're like, by the sacred cult, the boy is gone. I was like, oh, so maybe it's not the zombie thing. He did zap him to another universe, right? But again, somebody in the back there says, that's not true, man. He's not gone. You're like, what do you mean? He is gone, right? So now I'm actually really, really piqued my curiosity. I could not remember what had happened. Obviously I read it today, but so folks, this dude Kyber here, instead of existing as mass, he now functions as energy. Yeah, power for Kyber life for Kyber. Power for Kyber, life for Kyber. Yeah, dude, he pulled the dark crystal. And he goes, that's why we were brought to this place. And now Kanata's horrified. And I was like, holy shit. Wow, I did not see that one coming. I did not remember that. And I could tell you, I was pretty amazed. I was pretty shocked, comic book shocked. I was like, holy shit, they really went there. This dude is sucking the life form out of people into some cubes or something like that, right? He's just murdering these people for their life force. So it's like the movie Life Force. So it's kind of is like the space vampires. You guys remember that movie Life Force? Where the girl walks around butt ass naked the whole movie. If you guys remember that, it had Patrick Stewart in it. If you guys remember, it's a great movie. I mean, if you like sci-fi and space vampires, and naked women, I guess, and I do. Yeah, buddy, Life Force is amazing. I might do a watch party on that because I can get away with it on a watch party. Obviously, not on YouTube's. But anyway, yeah, I was pretty comic book horrified. I generally, before I had read it today, I did not remember what he did to these people. And this is pretty terrifying and sorely needed energy. And it's the answer for Kyber alone. When I stumbled upon it, I knew I'd live on indefinitely. So we are going with the immortality thing. Okay, we get it. That's a lot of the bad guys do that, right? We saw that with the water, with the collectors. in the first issues with Abner Little. And Kanata's just like, he's just absolutely horrified. He goes, "You're an inhuman beast." He goes, "Whatever I am is of no concern in this matter. What I do is the prime purpose of this place." And he's like, geez, man, this dude's just like evil. Oh, the international version of Life. I have it. I'll have to check it. I think I might have the UK version, right? I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm not sure. I'll have to check on that. So, meanwhile, T'Challa's in the jungle, and after we were thinking about what's going on here with this Kyber dude, T'Challa's trying to fight the hideout, and he just can't, and he comes back up to the base of the mountain. And he like you said, he's got this psychic ability now, right? Buddy, like I was telling you before, or whoever else is just now listening, I've just been wondering what's going to happen with him being on that vibranium. Nothing physical other than his brain, mental powers that he has. He kind of literally feels that this is what happened to Kanata. Was here. The silent killers in my dreams are not phantoms. They took him. So he realizes now that somehow, we're not sure how this worked, but apparently that nightmare was not, it wasn't really a nightmare. He was actually seeing Kyber, right? That's the way I explain it to myself, because he couldn't have manifested it, right? The Kyber is a real entity being here with the bodyguard, the henchman, hench for life. And so they were in his dreams, yes, but he was actually having ESP of seeing it. He saw it in his dreams for reals, right? And pretty fast going through this. I hope I didn't go too fast, but I really liked this one, especially the ending. Wow, just a blockbuster comic ending. The immortality thing, sure. I mean, but that's what a lot of evil guys do, right? They want power, fame, money, and immortality, right? I mean, who doesn't really? Who wants to live forever? Anyway, I couldn't pass it up. I'm not much of a singer, guys. So I don't go on Outlaw Bill too much because I can't sing. Maybe one day. But so let's do a quick little preview for 12. I always like to just kind of, we see, okay. Yeah, we kind of know that's coming, right? He's going to have to go save Kanata. And I am really kind of pumped up now for this Kyber dude. He's really a good villain here, or at least I think so. The other issues had kind of drug out a little bit. And so it was kind of interesting to see what was going to happen. I knew this guy, but I forgot a lot about what he did. So I was pretty happy. And JT isn't with us this week, so hopefully he makes it next week. And normally I would ask him for a letter grade. I'll save judgment for that on him, so he can come back and maybe take a look at it later. But I'm going to say he'd probably give it an A-. I'm going to give it an A. It was you really get to see a lot of different things, bringing in new characters like Kanata to be kind of like a major focus in the comic, with a really, really good bad guy this time. Yeah, it's it's 1978, but it's a pretty evil dude. And we got to see T'Challa. He was in the hospital, so he did need to heal up and take a break. We get to see that part of him still being a human dude, even though he's got powers. Well, you know what I mean by powers. He's strong, really strong. And a little diversion from normal stuff, and it went pretty quickly. The pacing was good, at least through most of it, which is right back to the first 7 or 8 that JT and I were talking about. The pacing is really, really good from Kirby. He doesn't dilly-dally, on too much, but he kind of did in the last couple of issues. So I'm glad to see that the pacing picked up, and it was a really quick issue. I mean, I read through it quickly and went through this one in about 50 some minutes, which of course without JT, which, and would have taken a little bit longer because we could have got his insight on it. But yeah, let's see what you guys have to say, because I've got plenty of times here to kill. 15 inches, John Holmes, say hold my beer. You're right about that. GGD, Mr. Arthur, I haven't seen you around. Thanks for popping in. Glad you came in your comment. Again, I have no clue, to be honest with you, what we're going to do next. I'm going to try to keep the issues down to, I don't want it to be like where it's a whole year, but if it's something really good, we can do a Superman or something like that. I'll think about it. Go to DC. We've been doing Marvel because we did Battlestar Galactica, which I wanted to do. And we've been doing the Black Panther, obviously, because it's something that JT and I definitely had wanted to do this for a long, long time. And what? Oh, yes, that's what it was. And thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. And what did Demon said something earlier? Don't touch yourself, you'll go blind. Yes, I won't put that up, but yeah, that's funny. Let's see. Well, buddy, you had said something recently, a few things. Oh yeah, you're welcome for the little recap there. He can power kyber crystals and make laser swords. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Columbo watch party could be fun. Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned about Life Force being a great movie. It is, right? I mean, and now you love the artwork. And yeah, I mean, the artwork is really good. I didn't see anything bad, although Kanata's hair was a little weird. He had like tufts of hair coming out. I don't know. One thing looked like he was balding or something, but it didn't matter. There was action going on. It was just something I saw like the third time I went through. Yeah, I give this an A. This one was fun. I liked it. The ending crushed it, right? I like how T'Challa was talking to the car driver, but he wasn't being an a-hole. He's really nice. He was being nice to the guy, but he still is still their leader, and he acts like that, right? But anyway, so yeah, really burned through this one pretty quick. Sorry if I went too fast, but thanks for stopping in, buddy. FKHC 2005 and GGD Arthur. Somebody new finally in the chat. Thank you so much. Anybody else who might have been lurking, and I would say, man, there's a lot of people streaming tonight. I think Dadman might be streaming. I know Snowdub might be streaming. I don't think Nickweiser is. I'm not sure, but there's a lot of people out there. So I'll just go ahead and get off and say thank you again. I appreciate it as always. It's always good to have somebody to chat with. And we'll be back next week. Oh, and tomorrow night, Buddy and Tim doing Spawn at 10 o'clock. We've only got 4 more issues of Spawn. Oh, he does start? Yeah. So go over there. Everybody here is pretty much subbed to those channels anyway. So, well, I guess that's about it. Unless you got anything real quick to throw into the chat that I can highlight or say anything about. If not, then yeah, we've only got 4 more. And, it's almost kind of disappointing because it's, how it is. They cut it off and they didn't have a season 4, which is, bullshit. And, how they did the original BSG, in the 80s, they just ended it. It's just, it's so terrible. And I've had a lot of fun with this, and especially that Spawn, man, that show, I say it each week, but it really holds up for me. And I think you guys have been enjoying it. The artwork there too is great. Keith David, it's amazing. But all the voices, we've talked about it a few times, that the voice casting in that show is just absolutely incredible. It's spot on for every single character, especially Spawn and the Violator, the clown, right? Wanda. I love it when he says it like that. And even Richard Dicehart is Callisto is really good, and the female characters were spot on. Because I was watching some anime, I don't even know what it was. It was just something on Roku. I was watching some JoJo. I know Mrs. Dadman and them had been doing it, but I had already been watching it, and I like JoJo, but I had some issues with some of the production part of it. But I watched that one subbed, but I watched Cowboy Bebop dubbed. I can do both with Cowboy Bebop. I know there's purists out there who hate it. If you can't watch it, I saw somebody say, if you can't watch it sub, don't watch it. And I'm like, well, yeah, but then there was some new, I wasn't even really watching it that much. It was on Roku, just clicked on it because Roku has Crunchyroll, RC, Crush, High Dive, an anime channel. And yeah, I prefer the dub, buddy, when it's good, like Cowboy Bebop. It's spot on, right? But when it's bad, I switch to the sub. I can't take it. So if you knew, buddy, I almost forgot to mention to you guys, Vampire Hunter D is out this week, and I almost canceled the show tonight because of JT couldn't make it, and I was like, well, I'll just postpone it because it started at 7:30 and it's the subbed one tonight, and I forgot to go see the dubbed one the other day, just forgot. And I barely remember Vampire Hunter D, but I thought it would be cool just go see it in the theater, get some popcorn, there's a cheap theater down the road, Regal. It's a 7:30, so I guess it's full price, but it would be kind of cool to see it live, in the theater. But what are you saying here? Ghost Stories was my favorite dub. Nothing like the Japanese version at all for the script. Yeah, I don't know that one, but I feel what you're saying there. And it's kind of like, okay, so I think I should go see the Vampire Hunter D subtitled first. And if I really, really like it, I don't have to go see the dubbed one, right? Right. And I got confused and forgot the dates because I'm being a lazy ass lately. And I thought to myself, buddy, if I went and saw the dubbed version and it sucks, I'm gonna have to go pay again to go back and see. And then I'm gonna be having a whole nother tub of popcorn. I can't go see any movies like that because it's not for a review, it's for fun. It's not for my YouTube channel, although I would probably make a stream about it. I probably should get up with Ironcaster and you, buddy, and FKHC 2005 and a bunch of other people and brought it up. But like I said, I kind of forgot it was coming out this week. There's one tomorrow, but I'm doing Spawn, and I don't think I can get back in time. It starts at 7:30. Spawn starts at 10, but I'd be rushed to get back. Maybe I'll go to it tomorrow, and if I make it back, I won't. So I'll let you know, buddy. If something happens tomorrow, I'll let you know, right? Obviously, you'll know. Or I'll just start the Spawn a little bit later. But I don't want to do that to people. You got to try to stay on a schedule for people. You don't want to be all over the place. So, but I know there's one Sunday night, but I think if it's the subbed one, I'll wait until Sunday night and go see that. And then I can talk about it on Mark D's show, maybe. But I know he doesn't do too much anime. So let's see. What do we got? It's very politically incorrect and jokes and stuff because no one cared what they did for the dub. Yeah. And if you want a toxic anime, I watched City Hunter. And they did a couple seasons, 2 or 3, I think, at least 2 or 3. And I think it was at Hulu or whatever. I haven't gotten Crunchyroll yet because I really need to crank down on some stuff for getting a job. I'm trying to think about getting the certification. So my next 2 months are going to be, well, if I decide to do it, straight up, nothing but studying, go to the gym, which I haven't been doing, and then do a couple of the YouTube. So City Hunter it's fun, but it's total subbed, and I like it. I don't even want it dubbed. I don't care. It's fine, subbed, But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So maybe I'll just hold off until Sunday But it's just interesting to see if anybody's going to go to that. I forgot to post that again on X. I had done that and got a lot of hits on it. You know, I'm not trying to make anything off that. I was just saying it was one of the anime seems to be really popular over on some of the social media sites and stuff. But all right, guys. With that being done and said, I will call it a night. And thank you again, everybody. And hope to see you next week. And I'll probably will be doing the Spawn tomorrow night, because even if I go to the show, it's probably only an hour and a half tops. And that gives me a couple hours to get back. But I probably won't go because I don't want to risk it. But anyway, have a good night. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.